Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte. I come from Norway. I love makeup and today I will be doing a different kind of video. I do not do a lot of chatty videos on my channel, but I do want to try to get more into that because I have a lot of opinions on makeup and a lot of exciting things I could talk about regarding makeup. And today I just decided to go through my palettes, my eyeshadow palettes that I have not yet used, but I have in my possession. So I have quite a few actually. It's almost embarrassing, but then again I have different reasons for why all of these palettes have not been used yet. As you can see, I have a ton of Juvia's Place palettes that I have not yet used. I'm just going to start with the smallest one, which is the Violet palette that I got when those first launched actually, but I did have an allergic reaction when I used the Berry palette, and honestly after that I have not really been a lot more eager to go into all of these other palettes that I had laying around. But it's a beautiful color story. It's very purple as you can see, and I'm really into these kinds of colors right now, so I should probably bust this out soon, but I just haven't because I mean it's not that many mattes in here and I don't really use that many normal shimmers anymore. I mostly use my pigments and I've been really focusing on all my single shadows lately, so that's one of the reasons at least for why I have not used all of these palettes. And it's basically almost the same reasons for all of these palettes. But the next one is the Festival palette by Juvia's. I still have the box even. I only opened these up just to check that they're all fine, because if not I would have of course had to contact customer service and figure that out. So this is how the Festival palette looks inside. It's actually a really pretty color story. I really enjoy these two together, for example, and obviously the orange and the red are really beautiful as well. But I mean the shimmers in here, it's not really my kind of shimmers, but like they don't really look to be that sparkly. I guess this one could have been a very nice face highlight for me. But I don't know, it's just not a color story that has been calling my name lately, but I am excited to have it, to try it out, because I do like the Juvia's Place formula. And I don't really have any black shimmers, so I think it's nice. And all of these Juvia's Place palettes I bought for like, I don't know how much they were, maybe like $8 or $10 each, because they were having all of these crazy sales before Christmas. And I was just like, I want these palettes eventually, so let's just get them now and then I can just use them whenever I want. So that was the Festival palette. I also ended up buying the Afrique palette during the sale, and it's also a very pretty color story. It's quite colorful as you can see. It has a green, it has a yellow, it has a red, orange, blue, and it's just a pretty color story in my opinion. But also it's like these are almost primary colors and I have so many single shadows like that. So this is basically just not a color story that I have felt like venturing into, because I don't know, it's just quite basic for me. Even though it's quite colorful, it is quite basic. I'm not that into primary colors right now, but it's a pretty palette and I'm sure I will make a lot of pretty looks using this in the future. Then for the next one, I was really intrigued by the Magic Mini palette. I knew that in the future I would want to have it, so that's why I also purchased that during a sale. And it has a lot of beautiful colors. I mostly just bought it because I thought these pastel shimmers looked super beautiful, and I'm sure they are. I have not even touched them because I'm saving that for a potential first impression video. And it does also have these beautiful purple and blue dark shadows, which I love, but I also do have that in singles, so unless I want to actually use this palette by itself, I can use my single shadows instead to venture into those colors. So I am excited to use this, but it's just not something I've been like dying to dive into. But like look at this orange as well, it's super pretty. It's a very beautiful gold, and I do like almost all of the shimmer colors in here, honestly. They're very, very pretty, and I do think this is a palette that I would make some gorgeous look using. Last, I believe, from the Juvia's palette is the Warrior 3 palette. At first I was like, how boring, when I saw it, but then I saw some beautiful looks being made with this, and I thought, like, I have the Zulu palette, so this one will be really beautiful to use with that because it has a lot of bright shades, and this one is a bit more like, again, in the primary color spectrum, and that's just not something I'm like dying to use right now, but especially like this blue shimmer looks so stunning, so I'm sure that I will also make some gorgeous look using this, but it's just not something I'm dying to use right now. And this is a bit boring in my opinion, this shimmer. I'm sure it's beautiful on the eye, it's just not something I'm, as I said, dying to use at the moment. So that's why this one has still not been used by me. Now moving on to a different palette from a different brand. This is the Wizardry and Witchcraft palette by Storybook Cosmetics. I got this for seriously like $6 or something. It was insanely cheap. It was from Beauty Bay that I bought it, and it's a cute story, like color story. It has a lot of beautiful shades, but I honestly have this like, ouch, I just bumped my nose into the edge right here. But it's a really beautiful color story, I think. It's just that a lot of these are like, either they're satins or they're like very basic neutral shades. But I mean, I think, again, this one would also make some beautiful looks, but it's just not something I'm dying to try right now. And I did hear some people saying that the formula is not that good, but again, I haven't tried it yet. But it's a pretty palette, and I honestly just bought it because I wanted to try the brand. And I mean, it's Wizardry and Witchcraft. I love those themes. But this one is probably just going back to my shelf, and it's probably gonna stay there for a while because this is not the colors that I'm reaching for recently. And I know it's really lame, but it's just something about me getting palettes for a really cheap price that makes me not be as excited about them. That goes also for my Juvia's palettes, which I got for so cheap, like $8 or something. I don't know. Next palette is a palette that I'm quite sure I will use very soon. It is the Nyan Obsessions Orange palette by Huda Beauty, and these colors are so pretty. I did buy this from, I think it was Cult Beauty or something, and I did get either I bought it on sale or I used a very good discount code. I think I got it for like at least under $20, I think maybe 18 or something. And these are just so spring appropriate, perfect for summer, and I do really enjoy the formula of the shimmers that Huda has, and I do also like the mattes, and these colors are just so pretty. So I'm definitely looking forward to using this for a look soon. I just don't know when, but I think it's gonna be within maybe the next month or something, because this is pretty. Then we have a palette right here from Certifeye, which I bought quite recently. I think it was maybe a month ago, and it is the Eternity palette. It's their pink red palette, and it's so pretty. I bought this because I was really lusting for it for Valentine's. I really wanted to do a Valentine look, but I waited because I was like, I don't need this right now. I have so many colors like this, and I was so right by doing that. I bought this on sale for like, I think it was 50%, and that's super cheap for so many shades, and I think it's very pretty. You can make some super colorful looks using this one. That was the one that was like making me think I need this palette. But I think I will make some gorgeous looks using this palette, but not right now. Maybe I will use it in the summer, or maybe I will have to wait a whole year before I bust it out. I don't know. I have so many similar colors in my collection. But it's definitely a pretty palette, and I am happy to have it, and I'm sure I will love it when I start using it. Next up is one I got in my February BoxyCharm. It's the Violet Voss Essentials palette. I have technically used it once, but I only used this light shimmer shade right here to use as a cheek highlight, and it was gorgeous for that use. And it's not like a super boring color story. It has some gorgeous colors here actually that you can make some very pretty looks out of, like this green shimmer. You have a dark, it's almost black, but I think it looks a little bit blue. And you have your standard brown shade, you have a lighter brown shade, and then you have a almost orange one here, and you have like some pretty colorful shimmers right here. So I'm sure that for a person who's more into neutrals and is starting to get into colors, this is a great palette. And you can make some really cute looks with it. It's just like, this was not why I bought my BoxyCharm. I bought it to get the Vintage Dawn palette by Ace Beauty. So this one has not been a palette that I was like super excited about using, but I still want to make a look or two or maybe more with this, just because I know that a lot of people have this because of BoxyCharm, and there's honestly not that many looks out there, so maybe I will use this soon, maybe not. Just because a lot of people right now are not buying that much makeup because of the coronavirus. And I think it would be great to like just venture into some of the palettes that I have that I know a lot of people have, just to like use what you already have instead of just lusting over new makeup all the time. So maybe I will actually use this soon. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. And now for the last palette that I have, it's actually one that I've been looking at for a long time, but I didn't really buy it before it was on sale and I got it super cheap. It is the bPerfect Carnival palette by Stacey Marie, and it's a gorgeous color story. Oops, that was just a sheet. As you can see, it has a lot of colors and it has 2 highlighter shades which look really pretty, but maybe a little bit dark for me. But look at these gorgeous minty shades, the green, the blue. It has a lot of beautiful shades, but this is like basically a rainbow palette, and honestly I have so many shades like this in my Single Shadows collection. Like this looks almost like what I'm having on my eyes right now, and honestly it's like if I were to use this, it's basically if I don't even know, maybe I will use it in the summer to use a combination of these shades because I love a light blue and orange. And yeah, it's a pretty palette. It has a lot of pretty shades. Honestly, I bought this because I like colors and this was really cheap on sale. I think I got it for like, it was under $30, and this one is quite like, it's not super expensive normally, but it is a little bit pricey. I think it goes as a high-end brand. But I do think it's a pretty palette, and it's just that with all these colors, it's like I'm a bit overwhelmed by big palettes. For me to be inspired to use a palette instead of making my own custom palettes with singles, it has to be an exciting color story. Like for example, the Safari Rain palette by Colored Rain. That's a very pretty color story, and I would definitely reach for that if I hadn't depotted it. But like that's just what makes me use a palette. It's because the color story is inspiring to me, and this is like a rainbow palette basically, so it's not very inspiring. I mean, obviously you can be inspired. You can be inspired. You can be inspired by a color story like this if you're like having something in your mind and you really want to do it. But for me right now, I prefer a lot smaller color stories, just because I want to have something that's like, oh, I want to do this. And I do like the fact that this has colors more jumbled up and not everything is like, you don't have the pinks next to each other, because that makes you a little bit more inspired by such big palettes, because you can see like, okay, this orange and green, wow, that's a pretty combo. And for example, also with the pink and the blue, or this red or pink with the yellow, that's also a pretty look. So yeah, it is a pretty palette, and I do like that it's placed like this, like the shadows placement is like this. But I don't know, I'm not excited to use this right now. I'm just gonna wait until I am. Maybe in the summer to use these shades. I don't know. If I did count correctly, this was like 9 palettes that I haven't used yet. Oops. But anyway, I do like all the palettes. There's a reason why I bought them. As I said with the Juvia's Place ones, it's basically just because I wanted to own them. I want to maybe do a ranking my Juvia's Place palettes video in the future, but I do want to venture into all of them first to do swatches and first impressions at least, and then I will eventually be able to do a ranking video. But right now I'm like, I own the palettes, I'm happy I own them, and I'm just gonna wait until I feel inspired to use that exact palette. And right now, none of these are like calling my name, except for maybe that neon orange palette by Huda Beauty, which is just stunning. But anyway, I hope that you liked this video. It was a lot of rambling because I didn't really plan anything. I wanted this to be like my initial reaction or thoughts on why I haven't used the palettes yet, because I haven't really looked that much at them since I got them. But anyway, I hope you liked it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. What are your opinions on these palettes? Please comment down below if you have anything on your mind, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this or just me using a lot of different makeup. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!